Hi guys, happy Saturday. I'm not usually here on a Saturday, but I had to jump on here to do a movie review of The Woman King. All right, I'm going to give some people time to hop on, but this is going to all be about a review of The Woman King. If you haven't seen it, there are spoiler alerts in here, so if you want to go watch it first and then come back and watch this video, do that. If you don't care about spoilers, keep watching. If you're new to the channel, we usually don't do movie reviews, but I thought this was important for numerous reasons to do a review on. So I wanted to hop on here and share with some themes that I thought that made this movie a powerful movie, right? It was so many emotions I went through. I was crying, I was laughing, I was waiting with bated breath to see what would happen next. It was a lot going on in there. And I would actually watch this movie more than once because it was so much packed into 2 hours. 2 hours flew by. I didn't even know it was 2 hours. Like, that's how much was going on during it. So we're going to get right into it. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to the channel. We do all kind of videos. We do reaction videos. We have personal finance videos, pre-law, law school, and beyond. We have TXT Gets Personal. So we have something for everybody. Also, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. What it does is pushes it out to the YouTube algorithm so that it shares it with a wider view of people. It really helps the channel. It helps us get the word out even more. I feel like I'm on a campaign for like marketing for The Woman King after seeing it one time, right? I feel like I'm on a campaign now, but Viola Davis did her thing. She starred in the movie, and actually her and her husband's production company, Juvie Productions, were actually the production company. If you're not familiar with how movies work too, when the first opening weekend of a movie is how they determine the ratings for the movie and whether more movies like that is made. So I encourage everybody who can make it out to the movie this weekend, because that's kind of which makes a difference for whether we'll see more Black directors, Black production companies, mostly Black crew cast on future movies. So try to go support it this weekend. Support it again after this weekend if you want to go back. But I would say it's definitely worth coming out to see it. So let's get right into it. I had to put my little notes in my phone because there were so many things to talk about, but I'll share. I'm not getting a copyright strike, but I'm going to share a little bit of it if you guys don't know. So Viola Davis produced the movie. She didn't write it, but she produced the movie, The Woman King. That's the trailer. I'm going to play like 2. So.
An evil is coming that threatens our kingdom, our freedom. But we have a weapon. They are not prepared for.
All right. So I'm not going to get too much into it. That's the little trailer. It's 2 minutes long, but I'm not going to play the whole thing because I get a copyright strike if I do that. And we don't want that happening. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes long, PG-13. A lot of people have asked me whether it's appropriate for children. What I would say is there's definitely violence in the movie because it's a movie about female warriors. There are definitely some battles, fighting, stabbing. There's some blood. So if you have young children, it may not be, well, I just want to put it out there. You can do what you want as a parent, but I want to give you education about what's in it, what kind of things are in it. So there is some violence. There is a flashback scene of rape. They don't show private parts, but you get the impression it's rape. You see people's facial expressions and you see kind of a struggle. So you know that from the context it's rape. So keep that in mind. You decide whether it's appropriate for your child or not. But I want to put that out there. It's rated PG-13, meaning parental guidance for under 13 years old. It's directed by Gina, Prince-Bythewood. Writers are Dana Stevens and Maria Bello, and stars Viola Davis, Thuso, Mbedu. Hopefully I'm probably mispronouncing it. And Lashana Lynch are the main stars in it. But for real, a lot of people were stars in it. So Nanisca is Viola Davis. She plays the head of the Agojie, which is the female warrior group that protects the king. Nawi is one of the people who are trying to get on the king's guard, the protection. She's trying to go out for that. So she is one of the main protagonists in addition to Nanisca. We got Agojie, who's one of the people that's on the guard as well. Aminza, which is Nanisca's like best friend, the king. And then we have other supporting actors, right? I think everybody did a pretty decent job at at playing their part. So let's get into kind of like the themes that, because there was a lot going on there, and I'm gonna tell you why I had all my emotions going everywhere, because there was a lot, right? So as I mentioned, like this is centered around the all-female warrior group that is based in a fictional tribe called Dahomey, and it was set in South Africa. So I think they employed and they casted some South Africans to be a part of this. So that's what it's a fictional, but it's based off a true story, right? So that's what's going on. People are trying. So the female warriors are called the Agojie, and traditionally they are women who they don't take on husbands and they don't have children because their focus is only on protecting the king and the Dahomey village, right? They are well respected. When they come back from fighting, everybody kind of gathers around like a parade to watch them, and they give them very high honors. They don't look them in the eyes. That's how revered they are, this female warrior group. Now, they do have men warrior groups too, who, as we'll see later in the movie, now we questions like, well, why the guys in this warrior group can have wives, but the women in Agojie can't have husbands? And so there's kind of some contradiction there. She challenges the tradition, and that kind of flows through the storyline. Nawe is a rebel, right? She doesn't go with the flow. She challenges authority. She's kind of like the rebel. What she's the younger version of what I see Nanisca, who is the head, who plays Viola Davis, who's also similar and challenged a lot of things, and she's like considered one of the strongest things, right? So I think it was powerful to see like the contrast and the comparison between the older one and the younger one, and it kind of makes sense as we get into the movie to see how they are similar but different in certain ways. So what I'm going to talk about is some things that I saw. So generational curses. So I mentioned Nanisca and Nawi. So I do, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this, drop off now if you don't want any spoilers. But Nawi is the actual daughter of Nanisca. It finds out later Nanisca got captured at some point when she was a female warrior. She got captured and she was raped, and she got pregnant from one of her rapes, right? She ended up giving away her child because as a part of the Agojie, she couldn't have children and it's considered she would be distracted because love distracts somebody from being able to do what they're supposed to do, right? So she gave the child away, but then somehow Nawi gets adopted and ends up back in trying out to be on the king's guard, the Agojie, right? So as Nawi is talking to Nanisca, she's saying she heard about Nanisca being captured before and coming back to the city, but she's like, challenging Nanisca, like, I will never be like you. This is before she knows that Nanisca is her mom. I will never be like you. And it just shows that generational curses are so strong, right? Like she was saying that she would never be like her, not knowing that was her mother. And then later on in the movie, she befalls the same fate, gets captured as well, right? And that talks about generational curses, like some things you try to fight the hardest to avoid and it end up happening anyway. I think that also it talks about how these women are powerful women, but then also the theme of like you can be powerful and beautiful at the same time is also another thing, right? Because a lot of times with women, it's like you're either powerful or you're beautiful, and you can't really have both. But in this movie, it kind of touches on Nawi's. Another gentleman commented about, oh, you're powerful and beautiful. Like that's a good combination. And sometimes women are basically pigeonholed into one or the other. So I think it's important to know, like these are some themes that were brought out in the movie to kind of reinforce. It was affirmations for women in general. Excuse me if you see my lighting going out. My ring light is acting up today, but the theme that you can have both things, those affirmations for other women. So let's see. Let me stop for a second and shout out to the people who are hopping in. Sounds like me, the rebel. Could be you. Could be you. I'm sure there's a rebel in a lot of us women. The boss. Hey, boss. I love the picture too. Have you guys seen it yet? Comment in the comment section. Have you seen the movie yet? I mean, don't forget to give the video. Oh, I'm breaking up. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up too, so it can push it out to YouTube algorithm. Have you seen the video? I hope I'm not ruining it for you, but if you haven't seen it, and after talking to me, you actually like, oh, let me go see it now. Hopefully. So, as I mentioned, this is African women, female warriors who are going out. They're protecting the Dahomey tribe from other rivalry tribes, and a lot of what is focused on here is the reason why these neighboring tribes are fighting to begin with, right? Because they're all part of Africa, but they have different tribes. So what happens too when they're fighting each other, they take prisoners, and what they do is sell the prisoners as slaves to European traders who come into the shore, to the coast, and they sell the prisoners to European trade. So that's another layer, right? Because as we know, the slave trade has happened between Africa and the Pan-African coast, like the Caribbean and United States, right? But there was some trade between Europe and directly to Africa, West Coast, the coast. And some African tribes were giving their prisoners to Europeans, not giving, they were selling them because they make money off of it. And so it talks about the theme about just not, white people are not just capturing people. Some of the slave trade was fueled by own African tribes. And it's like the whole dynamic of, you basically are selling your own people. Yes, they're prisoners, but you're selling your own people. So that's something that's also Nanisca challenged, right? She's a rebel. She challenges the idea of, yes, we're making money off of trading prisoners, but these prisoners are our people, right? They're not part of our tribe, but they're our people still, right? Why don't we find other things to trade with the Europeans instead of our people? They don't treat our people right. And so she's kind of challenging, like she suggests maybe trading some type of oil made from olives or something like that. She suggests other things, and people are like, no, that's not gonna make as much money as trading people as commodities, right? So she challenges that fact that I don't think it's something not right about us giving our people away to somebody that's not us, right? So at the end of the day, like, we have to look out for each other, even though we're differing tribes. We have to look out for each other. So I thought that was I thought that was a good theme to kind of talk about, like, hey, it's us against them sometimes, in the sense that they are buying us like we are not human beings, and we're selling these people who are part of our Black community as non-human beings as well. Like, something ain't right about that. So yeah, I thought that was a good point too. The boss, I saw it. I guess I have nothing good to say about it. Oh, no, to Vivian. Keeping my mouth. Okay, I'm interested. So anyway, as you can tell, I like the movie, so I'm telling you why, and I'm talking about certain themes that were prevalent in it. So the boss, if you want to share later why you didn't have anything good to say about it, I'm open to seeing, like, what was your perspective on it. All right, so another thing they talked about was mixed race, right? The issue of mixed race, where somebody, one of the characters, Malik, was originally from Dahomey tribe. His mom was from Dahomey tribe, and his dad was Brazilian. And so he comes back with one of his friends who's a slave trader. He's not a slave trader himself. He owns a print shop in Brazil. But his friend, I forget the guy's name, is a slave trader. So he's there with him, and he's kind of like observing things. But he came back because his mom recently died, and he wanted to see where she came from, Dahomey tribe, right? So he's mixed race. And so he's talking to one of the characters, Nawi, and he's telling her, basically, she's telling him, like, oh, so you're not really Dahomey, and you're not really Brazilian. You're kind of like nothing. And the issue, if you saw our other video, we did a review about Thandi Way. She's mixed race, and she was talking about the struggles in Hollywood being mixed race and things of that nature. But the idea that some people don't view Black people as Black enough, right? So in his case, he's mixed race, so he's not considered Black, as Nawi said. You're not considered Dahomey, but you're not considered a Brazilian too, because Brazilians might know that you also have this African descent background. And to not be accepted in multiple groups, like, you're kind of in the other group. When you're on an application, there's no other, right? You got to identify with something. But to other people, they see you in that mixed race view, and they don't see you as whatever you may perceive yourself as. So I thought that was another theme in the movie about mixed race and how those people are perceived and how they perceive themselves. Because he was going back to try to get in touch with his mom's roots, because she was originally from there, and I think she was ended up getting sold off. That's how she ended up in Brazil. We talk about, I love the portrayal of the hairstyles and traditional dress through it. At some points, like, they had their hair like cornrow braided up, and then sometimes when Nanisca, who played Viola Davis, she was a little more relaxed. She had her hair like in like a curly fro. It was nice to see it portrayed in different views than you normally would see in Hollywood, right? This was something that was, I think Viola Davis tried to be true to the culture and what was, what they looked like and how they acted. And so I think that was one of the good themes about the movie too, just how they were portrayed physically portions of them, what they were dressed as, how they had their hairstyles. So I thought that was important too. Let's see. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I didn't like the movie blending all of Africa into one mass group. Okay. I didn't think that because they had differing tribes, which is the whole point of the Dahomey fighting against another tribe. So I think they were in different tribes. So I didn't get that impression that they grouped them into one group because they did have different tribes. But that's your opinion. Dahomey is too close to the Dahomey. Don't play that. Okay. Africa is a continent with thousands of different people and races. There are a lot of people in Africa. And this was talking about the specific tribe of Dahomey. So I'm going to go back to focusing on that. So, all right. So Nanisca was the head of the women warriors in Dahomey, right? And she was the one that was set to become the woman king, right? It's almost kind of a, oxymoron because usually it's a queen, but in this situation, it was considered as an equal to the king because the king had many wives. We'll go into that, but a woman king would be almost the equivalent, equal to what he was doing. So she was the leader, and leaders, there's certain characteristics of leaders, right? And so she demonstrated a lot of these things. And one of the characteristics of a leader is seeing what others don't, right? And in the movie, they were trying to prepare for a sneak attack they saw the enemy coming, and the enemy had set up camp in a little ways away from them. And she was trying to think of ways they were clearly outnumbered. How could they still protect their tribe and not lose as many of their people, right? So she had to think outside the box and seeing what others don't see. Most of the people says, oh, we're outnumbered, we're going to be killed. Like, let's just throw the white flag up and surrender. And she's like, no, we got this. And she, based off of something that Nawi had done in an earlier scene where she was like making a prank, she used that same concept to kind of set up a booby trap almost for where these people were camped in anticipation of them trying to invade the tribal area. So I think that's very true as far as leadership qualities, because leaders is not just the person who's best at what they do in the particular field. Leading people is understanding the people that they're leading, understanding the competition, the opposition, and being able to navigate that way. So I think that Nanisca, she embodied what the true characteristic of a leader was. So I thought that was important too. And it was through a woman. It wasn't a man doing this. What else we can? Okay, so when I talked about the there being what was it? Rebels, right? So they didn't want to go with what you've been told. We told you to do this. Why are you doing this? So now we was training to become part of the Agojie. And they basically told her, like, look out for, we told you to do this. Don't detour from the plan. They were going through their final test, and you had to crawl through some thorns and stuff. And she was getting through there really fast, right? She was going through, she was getting stuck in everything, but she was getting through it. She saw one of her buddies struggling. So she had gotten out of the thorns. She was free and safe. She had gotten out of the thorns, and she saw her friend struggling. She went back to get her friend. They were like, what are you doing? You're risking stuff to go get your friend. You should have left her there. She would have gotten it. She's like, no, I saw her struggling. I had to help her. So she went and helps her friend. And then she went and still won the test. Like, she won the test to be part of the Agojie, even after stopping to get her friend. Like, she made up the time. And so in that situation, they were questioning why she did that. Fast forward to almost the end of the movie, one of the other Agojie female warriors that she had gotten close with, they were all trying to escape after being captured. They said, just keep going, run. Just don't look back. We'll meet you at the ocean, right? And so one of the Agojie people saw Nawi get caught. So she turned around to go help Nawi. And she turned around to go help Nawi. She gets shot and killed. And so it's just like, why did this happen at the end? Because when Nawi did it, they told her that you could risk something like that happening. Like, you look out for yourself. But she also was the type of person that was like, no, I want to look out for other people. Like, we're all a team. But they're also saying, like, sometimes you have to go ahead to save the rest of the people, and you have to look out for yourself. And so it kind of proved true at the end when when one of the Agojie people who told her who not to do this, she herself did it when she was in that situation, ended up getting killed. So it kind of begs the question, like, I mean, sometimes it's the right thing to do, and sometimes you gotta, I'm sure it's a matter of circumstance, right, in that situation. So that's sort of where I got. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna stop so that I'm not talking the whole time because I have a lot to say, but I do want to hear what you guys are saying too. And if you have any questions, let's see the boss. History of the Dahomey is emotional, evocative, and insanely complex. Instead of exploring that complexity, embracing the resulting horror of a nation choosing villainy over victimhood, of choosing to make warriors out of women while selling off your own men instead of representing something real about the human condition, they decided to turn it into a superhero story. That's an interesting perspective. I think that they did touch on a lot of, as I've been talking about, they touch on a lot of themes, and it kind of let us know that, okay, the point of this movie is we don't often see Black women in this kind of position where they have power and are beautiful. And so I thought that was powerful. They were strong. They talked about, this is based on a real story. So this is a fictional tribe, but it's based on a real story where women, and I believe they were the only women, all female warriors who protected the king in this situation. And then one of them ended up becoming a woman king in the end. So I thought it was a powerful story. Let's see. Okay, so I think that Malik, I go back to Malik. He was the mixed race guy who was Dahomey and Brazilian. And he basically he was seen, he thought his friend that he grew up with, who was a Brazilian slave trader, was his friend. But then when it came down to it, when they were selling off his people, the Dahomey people, his friend viewed him just the same as these other people, right? So it begs the question, like, be careful who you are friends with, who you view as friends, because they may not see you in the light that you think that they see you, right? Malik was shocked that his friend basically, turned on him and was like, listen, I'm buying these people. I don't care what you think about this. Like, this is what it's about. But he's like, you calling him a friend? Like, you should be careful about who you call your friend. I thought that was like a nod to, like, be careful who you call your friends out here. People who are a part of something that is directly in, contrast to your culture, what your culture is about. Be careful about that, because they may not truly be your friend. Let me see if I'm rape culture. That's another theme in there too. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before at the beginning of the video, if you're just hopping in now, there is a scene where there's a flashback of Nanisca getting raped by somebody from the neighboring tribe, and then she realizes that it's the same guy many, many years later, almost 19 years later, when he's coming with his tribe again, and I'm asking for a tribute, a sacrifice offering from Dahomey, almost as a protection, right? To make sure that their tribe doesn't get invaded. She recognizes the guy, and she automatically has a flashback to when she was raped. And this happens more often than not. And women, they have many scars, right? Some of the scars are physical, because these are warriors. You have physical scars on you, right? That is a sign that something has happened. But there's also mental scars, right? Emotional scars from being raped. Rape is something that unfortunately happens too often. And women don't always talk about it. They put on a brave face, they go on forward, but it has happened to them, and they are not comfortable sharing it with anybody. Just like Nanisca didn't want anybody to know that she had gotten raped and gotten pregnant. She gave away her baby. Rape culture was a theme during the movie too. And it's just like, it's sad to know that this happens a lot. And people who are in powerful positions, you never know what they went through, what challenges they went through, what obstacles they got through to get there. But in the back of their mind, they're still dealing with demons, fighting the demons. And so she kind of risked it all. Like, she was out for him. When she realized it was the same guy that raped him, like, it became like making a beeline to him. Where's he at? I want his head, kind of thing. So it could have maybe clouded her judgment, because she wanted revenge on this person, and whether that was necessary to get this particular person or for the greater good to do something else, who's to say? But I know that because of her experiences in being raped, that kind of pushed her in a certain direction as far as what she was willing to do, even defy the king, where he's like, leave it alone. she defied the king and actually went to look for him and Nawi, who had gotten captured, and some other Agojie women. So rape culture was also talked about in there as well. I'm just trying to see. Let me see if we have any Woman King written by two white women. This is the feminist film trying to rewrite Black history. Okay, I'm not sure about that, but okay. Let me see. I'm just trying to see if I have any other notes here because, like I said, there was a lot going on there. Yeah. So anyway, there was a lot going on there. I thought I had emotional roller coaster during it, and it was good things. I was like cheering when they were successful in their battles. I was crying when they were dealing with emotional topics and trying to decide what to do next. I was like in anticipation, like what's going to happen next, what they're going to do, they're going to make the right decision. Some scenes were a little bit like cringy because of all the fighting. But I think overall, Viola Davis did the storyline good. Her and her production company, her husband and her production company, they say, sometimes you don't see these kind of stories in Hollywood. And a lot of times, we have roots or, things of that nature, like movies where women are powerful and victorious in battle and things of that nature. You don't always see those things. So I thought that because of that makes it powerful, and it's being told by Black people and produced by a Black-owned production company and directed by a Black director. I thought these were important things to see. But like I said, I really want to see it again because there's some things I missed. Sometimes the accents were a little heavy and I couldn't understand some of the things. I got it a little later, but it was like delayed for me. Like my brain was like, oh, that's what they said. So some of the little accents were a little bit heavier than others at other times. And then I kind of understood them a little better. But yeah, let's see. Any other comments before? This was emotionally charged, yet the focus continues to be the greater good of the tribe. Yeah, I think they tried to think about at some point, the king even told Nanisca, don't go to the city to try to get these people who were captured, the Agojie women that were captured. He's like, because you sacrifice the few for the better of the whole, basically. So she was like, not when one of them, my daughter, I'm not doing that. So that thing was there, but then I think she kind of defied it in certain instances in the movie. There's nothing celebratory about the slaughtering of innocent people from neighboring tribes while selling others into. Okay. Yes, you're right. And so I think that there is some kind of war between the two tribes. And I'm glad that Nanisca brought it out. Like, we don't have to be fighting these people. They're fighting each other because they're trying to sell it off. She's like, this is not what we're about, right? So she tried to bring that out and find other suggestions to say, let's go ahead and try to find other ways to be powerful. Even one of the slave traders said to the king, he was like, you don't want to sell your prisoners no more. He's like, you're rich as the king of England because you sell these prisoners. What are you trying? You're going to be the king of mud if you sell anything other than humans. Basically saying that the sale of people is very profitable. And the king was like, something about this ain't right though. Something about this not right. And I think that Nanisca kind of challenged the king to think about it from a different perspective, because he's like, something about this not right for us to do this. So in the end, where they basically at the end they burned down the whole city area, whereas on the coast where they basically had held prisoners and the slaves, they kind of burned it all down. Like, we burned everything. Like, y'all ain't selling, we ain't selling, y'all ain't buying no more from this. Like, this is over. And that kind of was in the movie in the regards to the slave trade part of it. And then Viola Davis, Nanisca, becomes appointed as the woman king because she saw it from a different perspective. Leaders see what others don't, right? And so she's like, we can do it a different way. Not to say that there won't be wars and things in the future. You don't always agree on things. Not that you're going to always be in agreement, but as far as selling your own people to Europeans for money, the idea was like, this is not what it's about. And so I think that was important to bring that theme out too. Like, this has been the history, but let's take a second look at what's going on here. And who came up with this idea? Nanisca put it in the ear of the king. even though he had several wives, and one of them, Shantae, was one of the ones like, this might affect my lifestyle. I don't know if I want to change what's going on here because this might affect my lifestyle negatively. But yeah, it was a lot going on, but I thought it was well put together. And hopefully, even, I don't know if this is Nawi introduction into a Hollywood movie, but she did a good part as far as making you connect with her as a character. Like, you follow her journey and you connected with her and was, empathetic with her sufferings and her victories and things of that nature. So I thought it was a good portrayal. Let's see, is any other comments before we sign off? If you're watching on the replay, gang, hit that thumbs up button so it can push it out to the YouTube algorithm. I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section, so make sure you comment below. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to our channel. This is our first movie review. If I find any other future reviews, I will put it out there. But that's what I wanted to hop on here and say. So thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you in the next video.